Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How's everyone tonight? Hope you're all well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Good evening, Roger. Thanks for joining us this evening. How are you? Hope you're good. So then, we're going to take a look at another role-playing game book. This evening, we are going to be exploring Gods of the Fall, a Cypher System campaign setting from Monty Cook Games. Regulars to the channel will know that we are huge fans of the Cypher system from Monty Cook Games. This is a rules agnostic system. It allows you to play in any genre you could possibly imagine. But these campaign setting books that we've taken a look at give you all the tools, all the background, all the information about a unique setting. We have looked at a world infested with dinosaurs back in the Cretaceous period, and now we're going to take a look at a world where the gods have fallen. As it says, the gods are dead and now it's your turn. What an exciting premise. So let's jump to the table and take a look. Here we go. Let's take a look at the back of the book just to get a little bit of an idea. So the gods are dead, now it's your turn. There was a time when gods walked the world. Their magic pervaded the earth and the sky. From their magical realm of Elanehtar, they brought plenty and pestilence. They judged the living and the dead. Their rule was absolute. Then Elanehtar fell to earth like a vengeful star, sparking catalysm and plunging the world into a dark age. The gods are gone, but their works remain scattered and broken. The world struggles under the yoke of murder, slavery, and corruption. Dark things have squirmed free of their divine prisons, and even the afterlife has become a realm of nightmares. But a power has awoken against the darkness. A divine spark struck in the hearts of new gods in the making. You have this spark, the seed of godhood within you. Can you restore what was once broken before the world vanishes forever into darkness? Can you claim a place for yourself in the heavens? So this book includes a complete, ready-to-play fantasy game world for the Cypher system, with a detailed history, new races, dozens of unique locations, and an array of celestial powers to choose from. New creatures and NPCs, including the monstrous Hellmaw, guardian of the afterlife, seraphs, metallic servants of the divine, and ravers, the reanimated husks of dead gods. Rules for growing your character from adventurer to god. Find your spark, choose your dominion, face divine challenges and labours, and fulfill prophecy to create a new pantheon. What a fantastic setting! Oh my goodness, I am so excited about this. And that's the great thing about these books from Monty Cook Games. The level of creativity is off the scale. It really is. And as I say, we took a look at their book previously, Predation, which is all about going back to the Cretaceous period so that you can have your PCs alongside dinosaurs. But there is a mystery to unravel back in the far past. Though, of course, we have a looming asteroid plummeting towards Earth. So we've already taken a look at one really, really amazing setting, and now we've got gods. I guess if you really enjoy Greek mythology, this is going to be your setting. It really is. Before we get started, I do want to say our thanks to Monty Cook Games for providing a copy of the book this evening for us to take a look through. So thank you very much. Right. Let's jump on in. Roger, are you a fan of mythology? Of the Greek pantheon? Did you enjoy watching Clash of the Titans? And if so, did you watch the original or the remake? Which one is your favourite? So we open up the book and we have this wonderful map to start us off with. I really love this. I think this is awesome. I enjoy cruising a map like this, not knowing anything about it, but what drew my eye straight away is these floating mountains, these peaks, made me think a little bit of that sequence in Avatar. And that seems very otherworldly, doesn't it? We have this sort of maelstrom here over to the east. Deadwood. These are the Night Lands, the Ruinscape, Verge. We have a desert here. We have, this is Corso. This seems quite important. As does Somora. I'm going to have lots of fun with the names. You know how I really enjoy all of these fantastic fantasy names these writers come up with. Heavenfall. What could be there? You watched them both. You like the original. You like Percy Jackson as well. Yeah, Percy Jackson. That's a great one to think of in this sort of setting, isn't it? Because I guess I get the idea we're kind of a demigod. As it says, we have the spark of godhood within us, but we're not aware of it initially. All right, let's jump on in. What do we have? We got 5 parts. Getting started, the setting, characters, a GM's toolbox, and back matter, which we have a timeline. We got our character sheet in there as well. Is that Hercules, the Hercules series? Yes, Hercules and Xena. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We got our introduction from the author. I think is it, let me just get this right. Bruce R. Cordell is the author for this one. Monty Cook Games have an amazing team of writers. As I say, their creativity knows no bounds. So, in summary, basically, what would be Olympus has fallen. Even though that's the title of a movie, it's not it's not quite the same setting. But this catastrophe of the falling heaven, which I'm going to get this right, Elanehtar. I'm going to mess that up constantly. But here we go. Elanehtar foundered, burning and crumbling. It dropped out of the sky and smashed into the world like a vengeful falling star. Elanehtar shattered into hundreds of millions of shards, known today as ciphers. The mortal kingdom of Cavazel was utterly annihilated in a catastrophe. Other nations and regions survived, but all trembled and shook. Nothing was ever the same again. The gods were dead, and so the world gained a new apparition, the afterworld. And then people have kind of lost their faith. The gods are dead. There is nobody to pray to. And time has moved on. I think it says 2 generations. 2 generations grew up in the afterworld, never knowing the divine. They scarcely believe it when the elders describe the existence of gods. And many who were alive before the fall have purposely forgotten. which is why few give credence to those who have lately announced themselves as rising gods. Called charlatans, purveyors of lies, and petty criminals, these pretenders face a doubtful world. This little introduction, as I read through it, do you know what it made me think of? It made me think of the original sort of concept of Star Wars. In the notion that we have actually a group now who is trying to quash the idea that there is gods walking amongst them. And it's a little bit like the Empire trying to quash rumours of the Jedi. The Jedi have fallen into legend. And so when you see or meet a Jedi, it's quite amazing. And that's kind of how the PCs are going to be in this game world. That they do have this amazing power that everybody else has forgotten about or does not believe in until it is revealed. So I think that's an interesting little element that has just helped me get an idea of this world. So Gods of the Fall central concept is that the PCs aren't just powerful adventurers, they are also divine. They might be on the track to raise a new heaven or revitalize Elanehtar. So simple enough really, it's all about destiny. Destiny is why our PCs have the divine spark, why they are going to be potentially to become the new gods. And so it starts to go into an amazing amount of history and scene setting so that you can understand it. And this is what I really, really do love about these books. So telling us about the darkness of the afterworld once the gods had fallen. Telling a little bit about what the player characters are like in this new world. Explaining what magic is like in this world. And it did, I don't know if you noticed, it said that little parts of heaven, actually the ciphers that drop to the ground that the player characters are able to pick up. There's a nice little sort of link there. We then get geographical highlights. We have our version of the map here, and it runs through the main regions, but it goes into a lot of detail on these regions. And this is where these books are brilliant, because they are perfect to basically sit down with on a lazy Sunday afternoon and immerse yourself into a world. It's kind of like reading about a television series that you've never seen, but this is all the history of many episodes that just never were put to film. And again, the detail is really deep. It's so well done. The new atheism. So when thinking about the afterworld, one should consider that the gods, though absent, were once a real and active force. They wielded unimaginable power. They shaped the world to create amazing structures, artifacts, and creatures that remain active to this day. Thus, most people appreciate that gods once existed. They need merely look around. And so it does talk about some of the gods. There was an original pantheon who are all dead, and of course I'm going to ruin all of these names. So Xenia, the Earth Shaker, carved out the peaks and set them adrift in the sky. Those were the ones that we saw in the map. Balakar, the Windfather, planted the world's forests in which many strange creatures yet survive. Aren, the Namer, could alter reality on a whim, merely by concentrating on the name of someone or something. Oh, Very Coco, god of magic, famously unlocked access to sorcery for everyone, not just the elite. Ah. Avi forged and lit the great lamp of the sun, which bears her name. And Samael bred the Hellmaw to keep watch on the gates of soul rest. We get a little bit of detail about the people of Afterworld. And I'm just going to instantly think of what would be typical Greek mythology. I think that works. I know it's a slightly different setting, but I think that kind of, helps me imagine it. But magic is available in this world. And talks a little bit about life, a little bit about class. In several city-states in the Nightland, an educated or trading class survived the fall. This class has financial means, a useful magical ability, and a saleable skill, a powerful acquaintance, or some other advantage. Alright. But there is an underclass of slum dwellers. This is something that in this particular setting there is slavery. There's actually quite a big theme running through this in regards to that. We have religion, language, we have some more history, and I actually saw at the back there is a timeline of history to this world. Animal and creatures, climate. Despite the constant dark, the Nightland rarely grows colder than 45 degrees. So that's Fahrenheit, 7 degrees Celsius. When it's night, its surrounding lands are never warmer than 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius. So yes, we're in a kind of eternal darkness all the time. Look at this artwork. Art is fantastic. It really is. Really good. So, we've had a brief introduction. We've just got things going. We jump into the setting. And this is the breakdown of all the major regions. So, cursed weather. More so than the Verge, the Nightland suffers cursed weather that streams in from the northeast, flung off by the eye of Elanehtar. Many bibliomancers and hedge wizards sell small baubles that promise to keep such creeping curses at bay. A few actually work. Any day could bring with it howling winds, driving rain, or dense fog, and with it the possibility of being affected by a random curse. So everything is just constantly set in night, but we've got all this terrible weather, just like the storms that have been happening around the world recently. But I get the impression then that, yes, it was talking, wasn't it, about storms coming on in from the east into the Nightlands. Many people, PCs included, who grew up in a world without hope are affected by it as adults. Gosh. Yeah, it's sounding like a terrible, terrible place. Even though this has survived. Rogue is saying Cypher System Games always have great artwork. They do, don't they? They do. So this is actually focusing in then on Corso. I get the impression then this is one of the major cities. The metropolis of Corso is enormous with a population of over 500,000. And again, you see, this is all the detail it goes through. Corso sites, what life is like in Corso. The districts, because it's all built into districts. What do we have? Book district, mage district, nobles, the central market, tenements, craft district. We do have an enclosed slave district there. And it goes then into more detail on each of these. The docks, market districts. The Tower of Reconciliation. A tower that rises over 3,000 feet in height, which dominates the Corso skyline. Again, it is fantastic. We got the Deadwood. So let's just have a look. Where's the Deadwood? The Deadwood is just here, just east of Corso City. Splintered dead trunks dominate this bleak forest, a cemetery for the great trees that were formerly thrived here. We have dead cities. Bone Hill and Necromigration. And the Pale Crypt. The Sea of Shadows. See, it is great. The Iron City. Where's the Iron City? The one I want to know about is Heavenfall. So we have to keep an eye open for Heavenfall. Here we go. Iron City just in these mountains over here. So let's see if we can try and find Heavenfall, because I am interested in that. So this second section is just going through the map, giving amazing detail. Oh wow. So Samara lies half in light, half in darkness. Sits along the terminus, also called the Line of Nod, of the moon of Nod's permanent eclipse. So, yes, I thought this might be the case. So this area here is in darkness, and everything else is in the light. So, in fact, was there an illustration then that showed... Ah, here we go. I think that's what this is depicting. So does this mean... I think this does mean that the moon, because I did read about the moon. We're going to find out a little bit about that in a moment. Oh, that's very cool. What's that video game which has this massive orb that it sits within the atmosphere? Here we go. Here we go. Along the southern edge of the Afterworld's most populous continent is a wide region known as the Nightland. Though not directly destroyed by Elanehtar's physical fall, the Nightland still suffers from a lingering curse of twilight. A second moon, called Nod, appeared after the fall, springing into the sky to exactly track and blot out the sun, which is called Avi. The Nightland lives under the moon of Nod's continual jealous eclipse. Rather than evacuate to realms that still enjoy Avi's light, most within the Nightland learn to cope. Several independently governed nations lie within the Nightland's shroud, including the metropolis of Corso, the supposed centre of civilization in the Afterworld. This has got everything! Well, this is a great illustration, isn't it? Could you imagine that? Oh, here we go. So we have the close-up of the map. This is where the city is. Do we have an illustration of the city? I'm still going to want to try and find... We're looking for the heaven. So in fact, is it in... Yes, it's in the Runescape. So okay, so that was everything for the Nightlands. We're now moving on into the Ruinscape, so we will get Heavenfall. So, Shining... I'm going to ruin this one. Cavazel, the golden center of civilization, is gone, leaving the Ruinscape in its place. The Ruinscape's central feature is the Eye of Elanehtar, where heaven smoted the earth and shattered into millions of pieces of petrified divinity. The impact tore a massive bite out of the coast. An unending swirling vortex of storm of winds, clouds and lightning shrouds the Eye's core. The cracks lead down into crevices where ruins of earlier... oh, here we go. Ruins of earlier completely forgotten civilizations can be found. Called the Five Deeps, each buried layer holds ruins of a distinctly different nature. Each deep is tens of thousands of years older than the one lying above it. The tale told by the ground suggests that just perhaps the fall that happened most recently was not the first such catastrophe suffered by the world. Wow, okay. So there's even more to this. As if it's not enough for you to be able to aspire to be a god. We now have multiple layers of civilization. That's pretty cool. Think of the types of adventures, think what you might find as you descend down into the Five Deeps. And it does go through, it gives plenty of information. Oh, who are these? Interesting. But I'm still trying to find the heaven. Where is it? So, Raver, I'm sure it says it's Ravers. Ravers of the Eye. Ravers are husks of the dead gods. Many reside in the whirling arms of the Eye, howling with mindless insanity, as does occasionally the eldest Raver of all, the Delirium. We have some curses. Roger, give me a number between 1 and 100. Let's see what curse we are afflicted with. This is a really great book. As I say, I really enjoy these Cypher System modules because they get the creativity going. And I do like my mythology, so this is an easy one for me. But it's not typical Greek mythology. It's completely unique. It's got its own histories. And I really enjoy that. Should we take a look? What do we have? How about this one here? Target is struck by lightning. Okay. How about small animals and plants within short range wither and die for 1 day? The target becomes smitten with an ally's possession and tries to steal it. The character loses the ability to make any sound. These are strange curses indeed. So, I can't find Heavenfall. It was within the RuneScape. I want to find Heavenfall. Maybe that is something for later. Okay, let's keep going. Because we then have the Verge. The Verge is up in this region. here. So the Verge is a Nifar-infested borderland that hasn't known civilization for thousands of years. The Nifar, goblins, orcs, trolls and ogres, and similar creatures exist in scattered tribes across this great expanse. So we got goblins and orcs. So I want to expect those. And then Nod. The moon of Nod attracts dreams. Dreams unfold everywhere, on and within Nod. Though not all dreams come to the moon, many stay safely confined within the imaginations of their dreamers. So you are able to go to that moon that is sat there in the sky. But the thing is that it's more like a dream telepathic kind of existence while you go over to there. They get dream dust to actually prevent you from crossing over. Because if you die on the moon of Nod, then your physical body itself dies. But if you were to obtain some kind of wealth over on the moon, that wealth comes back with you. It's a bit weird. It's near enough like when you're playing an MMO game and you've left the hub and you go on into a dungeon. The moon is that kind of dungeon. It's interesting. We then have Soul Rest, and Soul Rest is effectively the afterlife. So a twisted reflection of the afterworld, the realm formed long before the first fall, during a primordial congruence with the world. So Soul Rest is the realm of the dead. Sometimes it's just referred to as hell. The problem is now that the gods have fallen, hell is just letting everything seep out into the world. But we do have the Lords of Hell, and where is it? Because it's the Hellmaw, isn't it? It's effectively this world's version of Cerberus, a giant two-headed creature. What else do we have? Organizations. So the Afterworld is host to powerful, influential organizations despite the collapse of the temples and the mortal clergy that served the old gods. In the vacuum they left, new groups arose. The Order of Reconciliation, the Adherents, and the Guild of Sleep. So I think they're going to be connected to the Moon of Nod. What do we have? The Adherents, loyal to the memory of the old gods. Adherents believe that those deities will return if their devotion and worship remain strong in the face of adversity. Whereas the Order of Reconciliation, built from the shattered ranks of holy warriors and disillusioned priests in the wake of the fall. So we've always got to have good political adversaries, don't we, on any of these game worlds? Okay, part 3, go into characters. And this is helping the GM to essentially create your player characters as deities. But it gives us a little bit more information. In fact, we have these 7 prophecies. This is I found this quite interesting. So let me see the bit that... So the Book of Fate contains a record of the 7 prophecies that were made. And with the rise of the PCs and other gods, 7 prophecies may have found the proper time. So in fact, some PCs may want to use one or more of the prophecies as a character personality attribute if a particular prophecy speaks to them. So what do we got? The prophecy of law, prophecy of liberation, of understanding, of salvation, of restoration, of love, of ruin. So as it says, here we go. Players may regard the 7 prophecies as overarching high-minded goals to strive for, or perhaps even as character prompts. So, what kind of prophecy might our character be? Prophecy of law? A reign of lawless dictators who believe might make right, who pursue personal fortune over law, and allow the whim to dictate duty and to be thrown down. So this would be a case of, would we be against, yes, corrupt city officials, city watch members? So that's who we would be against. Those that would take advantage of this situation. The prophecy of liberation. This is for dealing with the slaves, to basically free the slaves. The understanding. I'm just trying to find if there's a quick suggestion. Someone who have to open networks of schools and universities where learning and wisdom are celebrated. Salvation. So one might fulfill the spirit of this prophecy by making sure the final requests of those who have passed were honoured, providing a respectful burial, not digging up the dead once interred. So it's a whole variety of different prophecies. And this is what you could be, your player characters could be working towards, to give them that sort of divine mission. We do have the Hellmaw. So goes into more of the game rules. And then actually creating your character type. So this is where it obviously adapts the Cypher system to this setting. So our character types are going to be the champion. Champions are lords of combat. We have our various tiers. We then have the shaper, a master of magical abilities outside the experience of others. We have the destroyer. One who fiercely faces the unknown, sometimes for the mere joy of exploring exotic places and discovering new things. So you can see how these actual character types fit into what the Cypher system has as standard. So we've got our fighter, we've had our magician, sort of mage, magic user. The destroyer is kind of, I think it's the sort of jack of all trades. We then have Savior. So what's this one like? So Savior soothes souls with words and deeds. Saviors are smart and charismatic. So is this the speaker? I think this is the speaker kind. We then have, yeah, there you go, that's your 4, isn't it? Fighter. Yeah. Combat. Magic. Jack of all trades. And then a sort of speaker role. We then have a section on descriptors and focuses, new descriptors. Beneficent. Chaotic, humble, lawful, and 2 racial descriptors, the Sleen and the Terran. So let's jump to those. Here we go. The Sleen are slendered humanoids, snake-like humanoids, whereas the Terran are hulking humanoids who stand between 7 to 9 feet tall, but have no eyes. They sense things from vibrations and sense and smell. So that makes me think of... kind of makes me think of like Cyclops, kind of, even though that's got one eye, but it's that type of character, I guess, from the mythology. And then we're getting a list of foci appropriate for this setting. All the details on those. And there's a section then on this character dominion. So there's quite a bit to this. And the bits that I started to look at, which I really enjoyed, is this choosing your first labour. So it reminded me, of course, of the labours of Heracles. So we've got a variety of different labours that we must achieve. Rogue, are you still with us? Do you want to pick a number 1 to 10 to choose your potential first labour? We can then define our dogma. Be courageous, be honest. Gain knowledge. Seek the truth. So this is really interesting. It's how to get people to follow you and for you to aspire towards your godhood, I guess. Divine Dominion options. The symbols. I don't know what type of symbol. Depends what we might go for. We can have arrows or clouds or coins. It's almost superhero-like. Now, every superhero has a symbol, don't they? I guess they are the modern gods. And then we have potential divine labours. And we have godlike benefits. And it goes through as the characters get more and more powerful. Equipment. This is beautiful art. I really, really think this is outstanding. So, different kinds. What do we have? Daggers and clubs, battle axes and staffs and tridents. So various things suitable for this setting. And then into the GM's toolbox. Various creatures. So let's see what we've got. A bibliomancer. Bibliomancers are usually humans, but not always. They affect dress that is dramatic and atypical. Some adorn themselves with magical sigils and tattoos of text passages. Bibliomancers can cast spells, and some can pull the likeness of a creature, object, or effect described in the tomes they carry, which grants bibliomancers enhanced offensive and defensive capabilities. An elf knight is the most common nightmare found in the second deep, but is only a manifestation of something far more terrifying, an intelligence miles wide and deep that wakes in the fungal darkness. Again, these are cool. These are very cool. The Golden Bull. A Gorgon. Ah, So despite having some features in common with Kafir found in the first deep, Gorgons seem firmly rooted in the third, the ruin of a world ruled by Typhon, god of monsters. Griffin. I like how this is much more involved than just, you know, top line mythology. It's good. It really is. There's so much to explore. The Hellmaw, the guardian of soul rest, the most feared creature of Afterworld. A beast formed from divine will and the flesh of hundreds of dead souls. Oh gosh! Oh wow! When you actually look at the art, you can see all of the skeletons all together that make it. I thought they were just like scales or fur, but no, there's a lot of detail there. Oh wow, that's terrifying. A Night of Reconciliation. Ah, okay. So this is Hellmaw, but I've been looking at the Nightfall Wolf. So, a lesser manifestations of the Night Beast. What exactly is the Night Beast? No one knows. Everyone who did died the last time it ended an age, tens of thousands of years ago. This is great. So, seraphs. Seraphs in their thousands serve the gods as soldiers, messengers, and guardians. So these are the angels. Created entities crafted by various gods of the Forge long ago. Iron carapace are animated by divine grace. There's a little bit of sort of Diablo in here as well, isn't there? We do have our slavers. I'm sure we'll run up against them at some point. Trolls. Zekadid. Leathery slug-coloured humanoids. And then we have a section on the ciphers and artifacts. What might we have? Hand of the Gods. A user with one or more divine shifts who manifests their nimbus gains an additional effect for up to 1 hour. Speed of the Gods. Sword of the Gods. And then various artifacts. Boots of Mundark. The Cloak of Balakar. I'm doing better with the names now. Samuel's Knife. Staff of Serpents. Sword of Yesterday. We'll skip past this bit because this is a adventure. Little adventure in the back there. And we have a glossary. We have the timeline that I mentioned at the start. And then ultimately we do have a unique character sheet for Gods of the Fall. This you can download, of course, from the Monty Cook Games website. So there you go. We then have a wonderful piece of artwork showing you the different character types, examples. That is really cool. I've obviously gone over quite a lot, not going into too much detail because really I want you to enjoy it. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of Gods of the Fall. I think this is fantastic. If you like your Greek mythology, I think you're really going to enjoy this. because it has that same sort of energy to it, but so much more. I love the notion of the deep in the RuneScape. These 5 deeps, these various levels you can go down into. It does go into a lot of detail here. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Again, it makes me think of the modern Clash of the Titans, where they go to challenge Medusa and her sort of realm. That's what it makes me think of. I'm going to see if I can find, with that glossary, was it Heaven? I'm just seeing here. Heavenfall 70. Okay, let's find it. So here we go. Heavenfall, the grandest achievement of the vanished Cavazel, was the Arch of Heaven. This amazing arch carved of massive slabs of white marble, held aloft by divine blessings and seraphs of virtue, traced a gleaming curve, wow, nearly 300 miles in length, high over Cavazel's capital city called Earthshine. Wow! So that's just this area here. That's amazing. The Arch of Heaven now remains only in memories, and a few shattered lengths of broken marble span along the northern edge of cliffs overlooking the Eye of Elanehtar. Salvagers sometimes attempt to gather stone from the arch, but are chased off by mad seraphs of virtue who still haunt the spans and foundation stumps. The arch had many interior passages and chambers for prayers, priests and worship, and some of those chambers remain intact in the stump. And that's just that little bit just to hear. That's really cool. That's so good. This is what I really enjoy about them, is all these little elements, little bit of information on it, and of course then if your players want to go there, they can have this amazing location to explore. Granted, of course, you'd have to do a little bit of work to sort of flesh that out, but I think that could be quite amazing. So, there we go. Yes, Gods of the Fall. I really enjoy this book. There's a lot of content within it. You can get it, of course, as a PDF as well. And of course, all of Monty Cook Games PDFs have all of the hyperlinks, so you can quite easily click on one of the elements in the margins. It will take you to the appropriate pages. I think that's really handy. Great for cross-referencing. Rogi, you're saying it looks really good. It does. Again, I enjoy these books as a read, just to get the imagination going. I think they are really well put together. So there we go. That is Gods of Fall from Monty Cook Games. Again, there our thanks for them to provide the book for us to take a look at this evening. So then, as we are getting closer to the spooky event at the end of the month, I thought that we might need to start injecting a little bit of horror and mystery into our shows. And I could not think of a better place to start than exploring Call of Cthulhu, the starter set from Chaosium Inc. So we are going to be taking a look over the next few shows at several of the books and adventures for Call of Cthulhu. We are going to be exploring H.P. Lovecraft. This, of course, is something that You know, I think most of us in the gaming sphere are familiar with games that are based on the Cthulhu mythos, yet this is the first time that I've actually looked at the role-playing game recently. I do actually remember looking at it when I probably was about 13 or 14 years old and didn't quite understand it at that time. So I'm going to be looking at this from fresh eyes, but with a bit more understanding of what is the Cthulhu mythos. So I hope you'll join me on Thursday as we take a look at the starter set. This is the perfect way for you to get that introduction into this gaming world. So yes, let's become investigators for an evening and hope that we can maintain our sanity by the end of the show. That will be cool, says Roger. I'm not quite sure staring into the eyes of a great old one could be considered cool, but we'll do our best, yeah? Right, so there we go. Thanks, everybody. That wraps it up for this evening. I hope that you will join me on Thursday from 7 o'clock. But until then, bye for now.